you said science has shown that it's actually more detrimental on a physiological level to our system than smoking cigarettes when we're lonely. I mean, that just rocks my world, blows my mind. Everybody knows, all the doctors say, every medical professional says cigarettes will kill you, but loneliness has almost the same frequency to the nervous system.
Oh, I think it's worse. I think it's worse.
How so?
Because I think there's some case to be made, not with cigarettes, of course. There's some case to be made about the neuroprotective benefits of nicotine. Cannot be said for loneliness, right? I think we bought into this. There's a great quote, and I forget who it is, and it's kind of guided our lives. I think therefore I am, right? That's the ancient quote. And then the other one is a man. I forgot off the top of my head, dude. I'm sorry. It was a long night last night with tornadoes. The gist of the quote is most of the angst in our world is because a man can't sit lonely by himself. They can't sit lonely. And strangely, I wholeheartedly reject that. I think if I look around, we have sat with ourselves long enough. We are tribal creatures, period. And I think the reproducibility epidemic in psychological research, if you're listeners, you probably have talked about this, but these cornerstone studies that have guided principles, have guided policy, have guided our culture, they can't be reproduced. And so either the original researchers doctored the data, they made it up, or what I think is going on, there is some nefarious players, there always is in every field. But what I really think is going on is you can't pull an entity out of something that was designed to be, you can't study peanut butter and tell me about the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And when you pull a person out and you study the individual by themselves and do a randomized control study on this particular person, and they are absent from their tribe, you're going to get false data because that's not what we were designed to be. We're designed to be in community. And so that John Cacioppo has a book called Loneliness. Everyone should stop what they're doing and read that book. He's passed away, but he provides causal links to everything from Alzheimer's to cardiovascular disease to any number, hormonal dysregulation, any number of things, to the body recognizing you don't have anyone watching your front, your sides. You don't have anyone taking care of the kids. You don't have anyone getting food. You don't have anyone protecting. You don't have anyone scouting. It's all on you. And if that's the case, dude, your body would be freaking failing you if it let you sleep all night. Of course you're going to wake up at 3 a.m. and wake up at 3 a.m. and wake up at 3 a.m. Your body would be failing you if it let you sit and have a deep, intimate, romantic romp with your wife one night, because it's not time for sex. It is time to not die. You are all you've got, right? And so we blame the body and we go after the body and we try to solve for sleep and solve for romance and solve for all these things instead of getting to the core issue, which is your body has recognized you are all on your own, brother. And when it does that, it sounds every alarm it has. And that's the way we're wired. And so instead of fighting that, reach out and call a friend. And to your point, I believed like you did, like it's an emotional issue because we would just call somebody. Mm-hmm. The research we did internally here, and we talked to over 1,000 people, like 8 out of 10 people have nobody to call. They got nobody. They've just gone 5 years, 10 years, 11 years, 15 years without nurturing the friends. They were stuck in these classrooms in college. They were stuck in sororities and fraternities and kickball leagues and PE classes and whatever. Their lives were curated around community, connection. And then you walk across that graduation stage or you get out of the Army, you get that certificate from your trade school, and then it's you versus the world, man. If you make a sale, it's because he didn't make that sale, and he's coming for the food on your plate like you're coming for the food on his plate. And I don't got time to talk to you. We're both turning wrenches, man. We got to get these cars out of here. Or if you're a medical doctor, dude, we got 15 minutes of patient. Get him out. I don't have time to talk. And suddenly you wake up and you have nobody. You got nobody. And so, man, I wish it was just emotion. I think you're onto something, but I think it's deeper than that. I think we have cultivated in quick time the loneliest generation in human history, man. And I think it's costing us dearly.
Yeah, it's a conditioning aspect too, because who has time to connect when the bills are due or when I have to take my kids to school or whatever it is? There's a sense of overwhelm that I think, I'll speak from a parent's perspective because I'm a dad of 2 and I know you have children as well.
I am too, yeah.
For the parents listening, let's say specifically the fathers, there's a recapitulation that I think we're all going through. I know I am individually, and I can feel it from my social sphere collectively, where we're understanding that the old way of our fathers and our grandparents, it just simply doesn't work anymore. And maybe it didn't even work that great for them either, by the way. This is why you have so many women holding up signs that say, fuck the patriarchy. I think there's some, not all, some truth to that. There's a kernel of truth in almost everything. I wonder from a psychological perspective, how you see this playing out where men are being forced to be completely rewired mentally, emotionally, not just to their wives and women, but to the way they show up for their children as a father, as a parent. There's such a just decimation of what it meant to be a man versus how do we actually be an embodied, wholehearted, whole man now? There's a huge bifurcation and a really re-understanding that I think I'm going through still. Mm-hmm. And I'm in this work. I'm deep in this work, man. It's been a decade of podcasting. Like, how do you see this playing out? The old way of being a man dying versus the new way of how men are being called to show up.
Terry Real says there's been two great lies in the last 60 years of transformation. One is the feminist movement told women, you don't need anybody, you just need yourself. The greatest path forward for you is to act more like men. And the greatest lie told men is, they're the problem, you don't need to change. If things could just get back to the way they were, then everything would be fine. And both of those are lies. You can't do life by yourself. I don't care what gender you're, you can't do life by yourself. And the world has simply changed. That's why the cascade of divorces set off by women. You know why? Because they can. For the first time in human history, they don't have to put up with an abusive, aloof, idiotic husband. They have some economic freedom. They can just leave. And they are leaving. And so men can either get in the room in their mom's basement and play video games and complain about it and eat Twizzlers and write crazy things on the internet, or they can go outside like men have done for centuries when the fields no longer produce cotton. Okay, then we got to produce apples. How do we do that? We got to learn how to do it, and we got to practice and fail and practice and fail. And our families are at stake. And if you look at Reeves' latest book, our children are at stake. Everything is on the line here, man. And so we need a group of men to say, okay, world has changed. I got it. I do know how to go work hard, real hard. And as my wife, we had a famous showdown. I've talked about it a little bit, but we had a famous showdown in the garage. I was just turning in the last manuscript for my latest book. And I was dying. I was dying. And I was sick. And I just had family leave the house, and it was a big mess. And then I was down in the gym, because you don't miss a day, you snap into a Slim Jim. I was that guy too. And this is 18 months ago. This is 24 months. It's not a long time ago. And then my manager called and said, we got two big speaking gigs. That they were shapeshifters for us financially. They were a big deal. And I started screaming and cheering in the garage. And my wife came down, and she's like, what are you doing? She was laughing. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I got these gigs. And she usually shirks away when things get heavy, and she is thoughtful, and where I tend to be a little bit hot-headed. And this time she didn't do that, and she got close to me, and she said, hey, man, I'm watching my husband die, and I'm watching him cheer the whole way. And I got pissed and pushed back. And then she said something that was real heavy. She said, the piece of pie in the pie chart of how much I love you, that is how much money you make, it's full. You can go make all the money you want, but don't ever lie to yourself or other people and say it's for me and the kids. It's not. It's for your own ego. So go get it. And then she said this line that slayed me. She said, John, we have enough. And I didn't have a psychology for enough. I just knew how to work real hard and go make money. And I thought that's the way I could be the best provider for my family. And there is some truth to that.
Yeah.
And I also need to sit down and make sure on a daily basis, my son, who's now as tall as me, we're eye to eye, he's becoming a man. I need him to know there is not a thing he can do, there's not a place he can go that I won't love him and I won't come after him, and I will love him till the end of time. And that means I have to learn how to touch him. I have to learn how to hug him. I have to learn how to look him in the eye and say, I love you. And most men cannot do those things with their sons. And I have to hold space for my daughter and not lecture her every time she walks in the room. Why are you wearing that? What are you doing? What do you think? I just have to be a guy that is fun to be around and show her, hey, I'm going to treat your mom. This is the low benchmark for how you deserve to be treated, right? And I bear that responsibility. And I want her to know I'm fun and that I love her and that she is never going to be able to outrun my love for her. I got to learn how to do that because there's skills I do not have. And that's my new adventure. The same as when World War II kicked off and people had to start running into factories to help make bombs and bullets. They didn't know how to do that. They had to learn how to do it. That's just where we're at. Stop being a baby and stop whining about it and get on the horn and learn how to do it. Learn how to be vulnerable. Your family and our culture is at stake. That's it.
Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Click the link if you want to watch the full episode, and I will see you in the next video.